Well, when I grew up, I thought praying was reciting memorized prayers. I did not know how to talk to God until I became a Christian. And then from more mature Christians, I was told, all you have to do is talk to him, just like we're talking. And it was very uncomfortable, and I didn't even know how to do that. And so I just sat down and I just started talking, just like you and I are talking. And it's the only way you can do it. And you learn to pray better by doing it, just like anything else. Bible study, praying, you do it by practicing it. And then I would hear people say, oh, well, God told me and this and that. And I'm thinking, boy, you're special. God talks to you. And so I wanted some of that. I didn't know how to get that. When somebody would tell me, God told me, I'm thinking, that's kind of weird. But now I can hear God too. One of the first huge examples of that was 6 years ago when Larry got sick. We were over in the other side of the church, and in the middle of the service, God told me, or I had this thought, whatever, that I remember the scripture about the elders laying the hands on and praying over somebody. And that was the week he was supposed to go for his first surgery, which was the only surgery. And the thought came to me, you got to get the elders to pray over him. And I thought, this was way out of my comfort zone of what I was used to in praying and laying hands on and all of that. But all during the rest of the service, I was thinking, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. And church was dismissed. People got up, and I ran, and I got your dad and Darren and Lou and all the elders. I said, you guys, you got to get in here. And I grabbed Larry and Deb. I said, get in here. I threw them in the classroom. They were saying, what? You got to pray on Larry. And it was so funny because they did. All of them came in, they laid their hands on him, and they prayed over him. And it's 6 years later, and he's healed from pancreatic cancer. Now, I'm not saying that's what did it, but there were bushels and bushels of prayers going up for him over that. And hearing God is probably the biggest thing that I'm getting out of praying. Well, the more time you spend with them, the closer you get. It's like your best friend, or it's, you're newly married. It's like anything else. And again, growing up, it was all about religion and not about relationship. And I didn't know that he was so available. He was so far away from me as a kid. He seemed so powerful and scary. Man, he is right there. It's hard to describe because you have to do it to get it. And I used to look at other people and say, how do you get that? And I still do. There are other people who I feel are more spiritual than me, that are better prayers, that are better. But you know what? I quit trying to compare myself to anybody else, because God knows me. I don't have to sit there and say, Lord, I'm getting freaked out here. I don't know how to do this. He already knows that. And when you spend the time and you make the effort, all this stuff will all fall into place. That is a hard one. In the first place, in the beginning, I didn't even know I was supposed to pray for God's will. I just prayed for things that I wanted. I'd say, okay, God, I need this, you need to do this, and I'd even tell him how to do it. Oh, brother. For God's will, that is not such a problem for me anymore, because I have experienced what his will is for me compared to what I wanted for myself. And now, I start out my prayers, Lord, with whatever it is, whether it's finances or health or relationship, whatever the prayer need is for somebody, But I end up just kind of plopping over that and going right to, Lord, please let this situation draw these people closer to you. Let your will be done. Give them strength and comfort and peace in this, and Father, be glorified in it. That's what my prayer is for every single thing that I pray now. My prayer is always the same thing. It's always that prayer. Whatever the need is, it's always that, for God's glory to be revealed in it. Because when that happens, hearts are broken and changed and things move. And that's where, as the person in that situation, you get the peace that surpasses all understanding, even when it doesn't work out the way we want it to. Very rarely do I have a prayer time where my mind doesn't go off somewhere that it's not supposed to, or that isn't connected to the prayer. One of the best things that I do that helps me is to pray out loud. And that's when it's a good time to probably be by yourself if you're going to be praying out loud. When you are praying, go someplace where you're not putting yourself next to a distraction. Because where I pray in my office, one of the places, my table is set here, but my computer is here, okay? And I like Facebook, I'm sorry, but I do. I'm not on it 24/7, but while I'm praying, it's like the computer is doing this to me. So I have to take my prayer space someplace else because I don't want to be around. I want my spot to focus on what I'm focusing on. Like I'm praying the same thing over and over. I get out the Psalms and I pray scripture right out loud. And pretty soon, like I'll start out reading scripture, but pretty soon I'm saying my own prayers, dovetailing off those. That's all part of how I've grown in my prayer life. And I love praying for people. And I would invite anybody to join our prayer ministry. You can put that in there.